Affordable housing measures are on ballots across the Bay Area this November. I'm Jonathan Bloom, and here's what to know. The Bay Area is still in a housing crisis, and inflation is making it worse. Now voters in half a dozen Bay Area cities will get to decide on a slew of measures that take aim at the problem. Berkeley, Oakland, and South San Francisco are all asking voters for permission to build public housing sometime in the future. They're not asking to raise taxes or proposing a specific development. They're literally just asking permission, something that's required under Article 34 of the state constitution. California passed Article 34 in 1950, and no other state has anything like it. It says cities need voter approval to build affordable housing with public money. Critics have been calling it racist for decades, but courts have upheld it. So for now, cities are using ballot measures like these, and state records dating back to the 90s show voters have approved them about 80% of the time. In 2024, voters will get to say if they want to repeal Article 34 entirely. Now, San Francisco already got permission from voters in 2020 to build affordable housing. Now, two competing ballot measures are promising to cut through the red tape and get that housing built more quickly. Proposition D comes from Mayor London Breed, and most of its funding comes from tech executives. The mayor says it could cut the time to build housing developments from 6 years to 6 months for projects where a significant portion of the units are marked as affordable and the workers building them are all making a living wage. It also raises the income threshold for some of those units so more people can qualify to live in affordable housing. Opponents of Prop D say they worry it's not picky enough, that it could end up fast-tracking a lot of small studios for middle-income young single people in buildings that also have luxury condos. Prop E was written by the Board of Supervisors, and it would fast-track some projects, but only the ones that meet very stringent requirements. A higher percentage of units would have to be affordable, and a certain number of those would need to be 2- and 3-bedroom units for larger families. The workers who build them would have to be in a union. The income threshold would stay low under Prop E, so not as many middle-income renters would qualify. Prop E's opponents say the rules are too strict, and because projects under Prop E can still be held up for environmental review, they worry it leaves too much red tape and the housing the city needs won't actually get built. Now, because they're so similar, only one of these props can win. If they both pass with a simple majority, it's whichever one gets the most votes. So far, Prop D has raised more than $2 million with endorsements including the Chronicle, the Chamber of Commerce, the Chinese American Democratic Club, and State Senator Scott Wiener. Prop E's raised more than $500,000 with endorsements from the Democratic Party, a number of labor unions, the Harvey Milk Democratic Club, and Assembly member Phil Ting. Of course, the quickest way to house more people is if the housing is already built. So San Francisco and Berkeley are asking voters if they want to put a big tax on landowners who let rental units sit empty for months or years at a time. San Francisco's Prop M comes from District 5 Supervisor Dean Preston, who estimates there are some 40,000 vacant apartments and condos in the city. The tax would aim to make it really expensive to keep units off the market, and if more units are for rent, that could theoretically lead to lower prices. The money raised from the tax would go toward affordable housing. Berkeley's Measure M is similar. Both measures apply only to multi-unit buildings, and both have a tax that increases the longer a unit is off the market. They're modeled after a vacancy tax in Vancouver, Canada, that took effect in 2018. The rental market there has improved, though economists say the tax isn't the only reason why. Now, for people who already rent a home, San Francisco and Berkeley each have some form of rent control. So does the city of Richmond, and there, Measure P could strengthen that law, giving Richmond some of the strongest rent control in the Bay Area. Right now, landlords can raise the rent up to 6% on a rent-controlled property, depending on the rate of inflation. Measure P would cut that in half to 3%, or less if inflation slows down. Inflation is, of course, the very reason the city council wanted to put this on the ballot. They say prices have gone up and wages have not. Half the people who live in Richmond are renters, so council members think this has a good shot at passing. By the way, it's the same formula that's now used to calculate rent control in Oakland. But rent control only works after you've moved in, and one South Bay school district is worried teachers won't move here in the first place if they can't afford the rent. So the Alum Rock School District put Measure S on the ballot. It's a school bond measure with one unusual feature. In addition to funding classrooms and technology, it would set aside money to build subsidized housing housing for teachers. Board members say they want to address a teacher shortage by making it affordable for entry-level teachers to come live in Silicon Valley. It needs a 55% vote to pass, and the local Taxpayers Association is opposing it, saying the district's enrollment is declining, so they might not need new classrooms or more teachers. The irony here? Some experts say that drop in enrollment is because there's not enough affordable housing. It is one of the Bay Area's defining issues, and it's a lot for voters to digest. We'll find out what they decide soon enough when we see you on election night.